Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. My name is Gail Snyder. I'm the Executive Director for Dementia Friendly Fort Worth. We are proud to offer these programs with funding from the United Way Area Agency on Aging, and these programs are recorded and are made available through a YouTube channel for future use. And today is Cookie Conversations, and I am your host. Yay. And this is what we're making today.
Oh.
Your mouths are watering already.
My stomach's already.
Going to have that many layers?
Well, that's several of them stacked together.
Okay.
And if you notice, can you see the difference in the chocolate?
Yeah. Marks.
The two on the bottom are milk chocolate.
Right.
And the third one up is dark chocolate.
Yep.
And then the second and third from the top have sea salt on them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. These all. Okay.
That sounds so good.
Looks good. Yes. Looks
Right.
good.
And tooth marks.
That's not my picture. I borrowed it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we know she sampled them if we have teeth marks on ours, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we are starting with some fresh shelled pecans. These are actually some pecans I picked up when I went to East Texas. So they're very fresh. And I have gone ahead and lightly roasted them in the oven so that we can start putting our turtles together.
Those are halves, right?
And I'm going to start with some dark chocolate that
Yay.
we're going to top to make it melt more quickly.
So, did you get your dark chocolate just as a bar or the grocery store, the baking aisle, you can buy dark chocolate?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
This is how I bought it. The recipe recommended not to use chocolate chips because they don't melt as good.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent.
So same thing with shredded cheese. If you want to melt cheese, buy the block cheese, not the shredded cheese.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife makes grilled cheese sandwiches with block cheese. Not the processed cheese, but block cheese.
Right.
Really good. It melts so well.
Well,
I know what I want for lunch.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do we want to meet?
I'm going to have a cheesy lunch today.
What'd you say, Gail?
Grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Tomato
Thanks,
soup
Mom.
anytime is good. Now, my wife doesn't like tomatoes, so I have to eat tomato soup by myself.
I have a sister who doesn't like tomatoes.
So she doesn't buy it very often. But sometimes the only time she buys it, sometimes she'll find the sales for those cup of soups, and she'll be 1 cup of tomato soup, everything, which is pretty good. They're pretty good.
I don't like tomatoes either raw, but I like them cooked, even if they're just steamed or something, and
Well,
with pepper on them.
Yeah, I like them raw, depending on how fresh they are.
Yes.
Exactly.
A lot of ones in the store have no flavor to them.
I
Yeah.
know.
They're just plastic to me. She can't, for a while there, it's getting better, but for a while there, she couldn't even come close to tomato. She'd break out.
Wow.
But she's getting better. She can have salsa and things like that.
How about ketchup?
Tomato sauce and spaghetti sauce and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
For a while there, we had no tomatoes in her house unless I ate it myself, Same way with mangoes. She can't eat mangoes.
Yeah.
No, me neither.
She's allergic. She breaks out all over the place. And so I have basically said, I'm not going to eat any more mangoes. We can't have them in our house at all, period. And she even said, well, I can get you dried mango chips. I said, no.
No.
No, I'm not going to, I don't want that in the house.
No.
Sweet of
And
her.
unfortunately, in Thailand, we lived in the mango capital, Thailand.
That's
I want
probably
to know
why
if a
she's
mango can tango.
And we had mango trees in our yard and everything, but it was, and they're loved. I love mangoes. I love them ripe. I love them green. Green mangoes are great too. They're kind of like when they're green, you cut them up and they're kind of like a crunchy, and use a little bit of a sugar-based type of thing to dip them in, just like you would rhubarb type of thing. But they're really good. But you know, we got to the point where we eventually had to move out of that house and get someplace that didn't have all the mangoes. You know, because we had big mango trees in the yard, and they had a lot of mangoes on it. And it's the sap.
Yeah.
The sap and the mangoes that causes the problem. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Is she allergic to the sap too?
Well, the sap is what's caused the problems with the mangoes.
Mm.
Okay, it's set the sap that comes, the juice that comes through the skin, as well as on the plant itself. That's what causes the allergy with it. And my oldest daughter has the same issue. She's allergic to it. Yeah. So,
But like I want to know, can a mango tango?
probably could, yeah. Yeah. They actually have mango festivals in Thailand.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and they're big events, you know. So, you know, it's kind of like the orange festivals here and flower festivals. They have mango festivals, and it's just a big community event. You know, parades and bazaars and all sorts of things.
So I should have pre-melted my chocolate because it's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated.
That's all right. You know, hey, we're having fun talking. At least I am. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It will.
It's great.
Well, it is cookie conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're about to get there.
That's all right.
You know how kids are always wanting to be in the kitchen while mama cooks. That's what we're doing.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
We're just kind of hanging.
Since we're all in our second childhoods now, why not? Hey.
I'm also going to start on the next step as soon as the chocolate melts. So for the caramel, I'm using caramel bits.
Oh, yum. I love those
Only
things.
get
I eat them out of the bag.
in the fall and around Christmas time.
Okay.
Never find them other than that, but they melt faster than the caramels.
Okay.
Caramels usually have some kind of wax on the outside a little bit.
Mhm.
These don't have that,
Mhm.
so they melt better.
Okay.
It's interesting that that's the reverse for chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
You said the chips don't, but the blocks do. I guess you just have to know your stuff, don't you?
And these, they're just little bitty. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
It's caramel. Yeah.
They're dangerous though because they're fun to eat too.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah, they
that's
are.
all, yeah.
We've been eating some of those.
Wouldn't last long in my house.
No,
Mm-mm.
So what did you just pour in there, Dale?
I'm sorry. It calls for 1/4 cup of cream, but it says you don't need all of it. It depends on the caramels. So I've added just a little bit, and I'm going to see how it melts before I add any more.
Okay.
I added that to the caramels. So I'm going to start melting them in. And the important, that's hot.
Hot.
The important thing is when you're melting it to continue to stir it so that it doesn't burn.
No.
You know how microwaves, they concentrate in a certain area,
Mhm, mhm.
burn easily. Same thing with the caramels.
While she's cooking, I would love for Paulette to stand up and show y'all her sweater. I
Sure.
asked her to show it to me, and it's just the cutest thing. Would you mind, Paulette?
Oh, no, not at all.
And tell us about it.
It's just a little zebra shirt.
Okay.
I don't know if you can tell or not. But
No, I can see the zebra head.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he sparkles.
Yeah.
Glitters and glistens.
Yay. I told her that made my whole day.
There you go.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now.
Thank you, Paulette.
is
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm very honored and flattered to be able to do it.
Sorry, Gail.
That's okay. We're gonna start to put the turtles together. I have a baking sheet lined with wax paper so that they don't stick. I have to interject a stirring of my caramel. So you can see this is starting to melt.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
still
my.
a little bit chunky, so we want to melt it a little bit more.
Sometimes folks use parchment paper. Is the wax paper on the recipe, or was that an executive decision on your part?
It actually said it on the recipe, but the reason is the parchment paper doesn't have the same texture.
Mhm.
The wax paper will keep the turtles from sticking, whereas
Yeah.
the parchment paper won't.
Yeah.
Good answer. Thank you.
The different texture. In fact, I pulled out parchment paper and I realized I had the wrong thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is, if I can find the right spoon, I'm going to put just a dab of chocolate on the wax paper so that the pecans will stick to it. And we're going to arrange them a little bit like a turtle.
Yep.
Can you all see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this recipe doesn't say to do that, but when I've made them before, it suggests putting the chocolate down to hold the pecans together until you get everything else on.
It's a good idea.
So then I'm going to arrange the pecans again. And you don't have to have all whole pieces. And if some of them are broken, if you want them to look like full pecans on the outside, you can put the broken piece toward the center because the caramel's going to cover it up.
Ah, there you go.
Good use of your your product.
Yes. And then one of
Ingredient.
the pictures I saw also had where you chop the pecans and put them on. And so we might try that too if we have enough time.
It's so hard not to like a pecan.
Mhm.
That's true. Who gets to lick the bowl?
I guess Gail does.
There's one here.
That was always a big deal in my house as a child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing the mixers and
Mixer
It's-
beaters.
The beaters.
Still's a big deal in our house. It's me.
Yeah. yeah, same here.
Steve.
In September, my grandson was here and set up on the counter while I was baking a birthday cake for his dad. And he liked licking the beaters when I was done.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's always fun.
And then the next time he came over, he pointed over to this corner and said, "Cake, cake."
Oh, cute.
You wanted those beaters.
Wanted those beaters.
You remembered.
When you were talking about cheese, Gail, it reminded me that we didn't have much when I was growing up. My dad started from nothing. And I can remember that things like potatoes and cream sauce, it was a big deal if we had just a little bit of cheese on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My brother would come in and try to sneak a little. And then she'd say, "There's not going to be enough if you take some."
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays people use tons and tons of cheese and don't think anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true in anybody else's house as a child, or was it just
Yeah.
because we had
Yeah,
little?
that was our house too. But the only time we got to have cheese Other than that was like a grilled cheese sandwich. That was it.
And
Yeah.
that was probably just one thin slice of cheese.
Yeah, it was one thin slice. Because my mother, it's kind of like you, Martha. My mother was single. We were very poor, and she was very economical. You know, she was very frugal. And so I remember our orange juice was always watered down. You know, it wasn't, you know, you get the cans, you know, the condensed orange juice in cans.
Yes.
Well, she added more water than what it's supposed to be, you know. It's always watered down, you know.
Make it go farther.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tastes more like the Sunny D's today, you know.
My mom made lots of casseroles. And the
Yes.
thing was that we were a family of 6, and
Mhm.
the casserole made the meat that she had go farther.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mhm.
I remember one day coming home from school. I guess I was in middle school, and I was hungry, so I got a couple hot dogs, just ate them cold, you know, out of the fridge, you know. And my mom came home, and she was so upset because that's what she had planned for supper.
Oh,
She didn't
no.
have enough hot dogs.
Wow.
What go,
Yeah.
Steve?
I know. Well, she didn't tell me. If she told me, I wouldn't have eaten them, you know. But
Mhm.
that's all right, you know.
We're grown boy.
I know.
Does anyone remember that movie Auntie Mame?
Oh, of course.
Darling, I'm your Auntie Mame. That was my mother. And every friend of mine who ever saw that movie would say, Paulette, have you seen Auntie Mame? That is so your mom.
Guys, I'm going to have to leave today, okay? But I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
All right, Steve, bye.
Okay?
Hey, Dad,
Bye.
be
Bye.
careful out there among the English.
All right. Bye.
Okay, so I have popped the baking sheet with our first layer into the freezer to help that chocolate become solid again. Because if we add the caramel before that chocolate becomes solid, it wants to mix together.
Oh,
Ah,
You don't want it to mix together. So I'm stirring the caramel to try to get it to finish melting and smooth out.
and you heated that too, right?
What's that?
You heated the caramel too,
Yeah,
right?
I heated the caramel with that little bit of cream.
Mhm. And you said none of this goes into the oven except for toasting the pecans.
That's correct. And I intended to do that last night, and I had another project I was working on, and I didn't get to it. Okay, so while we wait for those to stiffen up, I'm going to melt some white chocolate because we're going to use this to decorate the top of the turtles just a little bit, to do some, what do they call it? It's not swirls, but some drizzle
Drizzle.
over the top. And I've got to go grab another cutting board. Sometimes when I'm baking and cooking, I may have out 3 or 4 cutting boards at the same time.
Wow.
I can understand that.
Have to use a different knife.
Hi,
because
Janine.
we don't want to get chocolate on it. Good morning, Janine.
Good morning.
Okay, so
Gail's in the middle of turtles, Janine.
Oh, I was wondering what it was.
And they certainly look good.
okay, so now I'm going to put this in to melt. And I usually do somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes at a time, just so that I, again, don't overcook it.
You mean seconds?
seconds?
Yes. Did I say minutes? Did I say minutes?
Yes.
I don't mean minutes. That would be terrible.
Whew,
You'd have a mess in the microwave.
sure would.
I'd probably have to throw my bowl away.
Yes.
When I lived on the East Coast, I was fascinated by the fact that when they pronounced the word turtle, it was turtle.
Say it again.
When I lived in Massachusetts, in Boston, they talked about turtles, not turtles. And I always thought that was kind of, oh, because they thought I talked funny and I thought they talked funny. So we would laugh at each other's pronunciations of common words. They didn't like ours.
When I first went to college, my first roommate was from Canada. And her boyfriend gave her flowers for a holiday. And she came back to our dorm room and she said, "Do you have a vase I can borrow?"
Oh, yeah.
She said, I mean, I was searching my brain. I'm from Oklahoma. I was searching everywhere to figure out what she said, and she just kept saying it. And I thought, what is she saying?
She forgot there's an E on the end of that.
I ran into that. Yeah, sure did.
Finally, she said, "You know, something to put flowers in." I said, "Oh, you mean a vase?"
I said, what?
Yeah. You gotta say, you gotta use the E on the end of that to get the right pronunciation.
Yes. And when I tell that story, I always think of my grandmother. She used to call broccoli brolica.
Brolica?
Brolica?
Tell what you're
Yeah, if something was
I'm going
if something was made out of metal,
out of the freezer.
metal was pronounced metal.
Metal.
Metal. So I don't know if they meddled in someone's business or just hammered metal. Metal.
Ooh, pretty.
Oh, look at those.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Right now, they look like butterflies.
Yes.
They
You know
do.
what they do?
Okay, so that chocolate has hardened back up.
Okay.
And so now we're going to add the caramel.
And if you hadn't done that, it would have all run together. Is that what you said?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Boy, if I were making them, I would have messed up big.
And then it says to put about a tablespoon of caramel on top. That looks like a little bit too much for the size of what I made, because I only put 4 pecans. So I'm going to start with a teaspoon. And I'm just
We have
going
a drawer like that.
What's that?
We have a drawer just like that. It's got everything in
Like
it.
this?
Yes.
It's my favorite drawer.
That's right.
It's probably almost 10 inches deep.
Ooh.
All my measuring cups and my hand mixer.
Oh my goodness.
And then I have these that hold all that's what I'm digging in, is these containers with all my forks. And when we redid the kitchen, I also have a drawer that's even deeper. That's my drawer for plastics.
Smart
nice.
woman.
Works much better than a shelf.
See, you call it your aha drawer, because when you go into it and you find it, you say, aha, I found it.
That's great, Paulette.
Well, that's also the place my grandson likes to play when he's here. There's nothing in there that he can break. So I just open the drawer and he stands there and digs things out and stirs things. And then when he gets done, I pick it all up and put it in the dishwasher and wash it. But he has a fun time, and it keeps him here where I can see what he's doing when I'm working in the kitchen. All right, so I'm going to have to soften this caramel just a little bit more. It's too thick already.
Which reminds me, does everybody have a junk drawer?
I just have a
At
junk
least
drawer.
one.
More than one.
More
Yeah,
than
which
one.
one?
Yeah,
The
all
only
of mine.
drawer that I keep neat is a silverware drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is a tools and batteries drawer.
Tools and batteries, yes. Do you have a a ruler or a tape measure in it.
Tape measures in there
Mm-hmm.
and screwdrivers. And
Well, I guess we're a little bit more organized. We have 4 drawers that we organize our junk in. So it's easier to get to.
But I know what junk is in which drawer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Kind of where mine is at. Batteries and tapes are at my desk,
Mm-hmm.
and kitchen junk is in a drawer in the Hoosier cabinet. And then I have a drawer in the pantry that has miscellaneous
Stuff.
tools and things that you might need.
Yes.
You know, I'm not real good with numbers and all that kind of stuff, but it seems to me that organization is a 4-letter word.
Well, Paulette, on that, I have to disagree because one of my favorite places to go is the Container Store.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Container Store, but that, you know, and I buy all these containers and then I wonder why I bought them and I forget what I put in the containers.
That's why you need labels.
Label maker.
That you buy at the Container Store.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, okay, fine. But then you was all those aha moments when you, I found it, yay!
Yeah.
Ah,
See?
Okay.
When
I
COVID
used-
came along, I started saving jars to organize stuff in.
Oh, that way you can see what you got.
Mm-hmm. And
Good,
put
good
labels
idea.
on them. I'm sorry, Janine, I interrupted you.
I don't remember.
Uh-oh. We're talking about organization and aha moments.
Oh, yeah. I used to thinking about aha moments when I was younger and making lots of money. I used to put $100 bills in my books on my bookshelf
Really?
on purpose to hide them so that I would come across one and go, "Oh, wow, I got $100."
Oh,
One
fun.
of those aha moments.
Yeah. You know, you watch those picker shows on the TV. That's what, when they get a book, that's always the first thing they go through, or a Bible. They rifle the pages to look for money.
Oh, wow.
gee.
No, I didn't know that. Well, somebody got a really nice surprise because I donated one of them to the library once and didn't remember.
And they didn't
Oh,
return
I
it.
forgot to check that to see if I put any $100 bills in there. Okay, so the complication with the caramel is if you get it too thin so that it is real workable, it's a little bit too runny and it wants to run off of the pecans,
Ooh.
which just means you get a little bit more on it. So now I'm going to show you how it looks now. So now I've added the caramel.
Wow.
Yep.
And we want that to set, so I'm going to pop it in the freezer for just a minute. And the key to that is making sure your baking sheet will fit in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a learning curve because my other freezer, I could use the big cookie sheet because it was the drawer. Now I have a side by side, and I had to switch cookie sheets because this is the only one I have that'll fit in there.
Learning
Yeah.
curve. Yes.
Speaking of freezers.
So I guess the moral of this story is when you go to buy a book, make sure you buy a used book with a cover on it that they will ship to you in the mail because it might have hidden money inside.
That's right.
You won't get it online, that's for sure.
I don't think Amazon would deliver a book like that.
No.
You need to check it for money first.
They would look it through.
Okay, so I'm stirring together the white chocolate that we're going to use in a few minutes to finish
Okay.
melting it.
I remember how shocked I was when I found out that chocolate was also white.
Yes. Does anybody know what that process is?
I
hope
have
it's
no
not
idea.
Clorox.
Pardon?
I hope it's not Clorox.
I don't think so. Martha, you want to try to look that up for us?
Sure.
How
I
can
thought white chocolate wasn't.
what's
I
that?
don't.
How
I
is white
heard
chocolate?
somewhere that white chocolate wasn't really chocolate. It was something else entirely.
Yeah, I
But
think that might be the case.
I could believe that.
How is white chocolate made?
Okay, I'm going to check on our turtles in the freezer.
They're getting cold.
Just a couple more minutes.
The Washington Post says, for years, connoisseurs dismissed white chocolate, which is a confection made with cocoa butter, milk solids, and sugar, but with none of the cocoa solids that give darker chocolate its recognizable flavor and color. The question is white chocolate or a white lie? The host says, if you love white chocolate, I hate to break it to you, you're not eating chocolate.
Well, that's why I don't like it.
You do too.
Okay.
I
I
don't
a
like
little
it.
bit.
I don't like white chocolate.
A cocoa bean is made up of roughly equal parts of cocoa butter and cacao nibs. Cocoa butter is what gives chocolate its rich mouthfeel, and the nibs hold most of the distinctive smell and taste. Absent of nibs, white chocolate is basically just sweet fat.
Oh, yummy.
No wonder I
Yummy.
like sweet fat. Well,
Sweet fat.
that's how I intend to die.
Did you say the white chocolate is basically fat?
Sweet fat.
Sweet fat.
Sweet fat. How sweet is that?
It says it has a melt that is unencumbered by the non-fat cocoa solids or cocoa powder. For chocolate to be labeled as chocolate as opposed to candy, the FDA requires that the bar be made up of at least 10% cocoa mass. On the other hand, white chocolate has to have a cocoa butter content of at least 20% and does not require the inclusion of nibs. Hershey Company filed a petition to make the FDA standards in 2004.
That recent.
And they show a picture of
Oh, yum.
just the white chunks.
That's the white chocolate?
Uh-huh. And that was a Washington Post article. I trust that more than Wiki. Or what else am I thinking of?
A little bit more chocolate because my chocolate is just a little bit too thin to stand up on the pecans. So I'm going to add some to it.
Did you add anything to the original chocolate when you melted it?
No.
So it just melted too much?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
Gail, I understand that if you're making this, it's all calorie free, right?
That's what you tell us.
Yeah, okay.
I believe her. This is a real balancing act.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And frankly, you work harder on the recipe of not baking the turtles than you do on something that has to be baked.
I think that might be correct. And
Yes.
melt this for just about 5 seconds.
Hi, Robert.
You also see I'm getting a little more messy than normal too.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, 2 spots. Oh,
The only problem is I'm baking for someone else, so I can't lick my hands.
mm-hmm.
doggone it. There's always a catch.
Yeah. Nancy, did you ever bake when you were younger?
Yes,
What did you like to bake?
pineapple upside down cake.
Oh, I want some.
Doesn't that sound wonderful? Janine, I'll be there with my fork.
Yeah, it's been a long
Is
time since I had that.
What did you say, Gail?
she talking about her famous cheesecake?
She said pineapple upside down cake was Nancy's favorite to bake.
Okay. Well, I've heard she also makes a delicious cheesecake.
Ooh. I'd show up with my fork for that one too.
Oh, me too. I'll be right behind you.
Dusty, were you ever a baker or were you just a fork holder?
I was a professional baker. That was my profession.
Tell us about that. I had no
It's,
idea.
it's lots of hard work.
Not going that.
Was it bread or desserts or?
Oh, decorated cakes,
Yeah.
wedding cakes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I take my hat off to you. You probably had to please a lot of bridezillas.
Yep.
And donuts.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Where was your shop?
I've had several. The last one was in Mississippi. I had for 16 years. I had 2 there, and for a partial time I had 3, but the third one was a little too much, so I had to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Lasted 16 years, so I did something right, I guess.
Well, I guess you did. Think of all the people you made happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one kid come up to me one time, an older kid, college, I think, said, "I was raised on your donut holes."
Didn't that make you feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite thing that you enjoyed making more than others? Or that was easier?
No, not really. I made more donuts than anything because
Mm,
that was a fast seller.
I bet so.
When my kids were little, I fed them everything that was homemade, and I got stone ground wheat flour from Deaf Smith County, and all their bread was homemade.
Mm.
And I nursed them, and I natural childbirths because I didn't want them to have any kind of anesthetic or stuff like that in their systems. So I was one of the few who did natural childbirth back in those days. And my husband they let him in the delivery room when I had each kid. And I had them both in, one was in Dallas and one was in St. Louis.
That was a long time ago. He was
Yeah,
a
that was
he was a
long
groundbreaker.
time ago.
Yeah.
I trailblazed, I guess. And I wouldn't let them have anything that wasn't natural.
Mm-hmm.
So when they got older and started learning how to read and stuff like that, it was so funny to watch them. I told them when they could pronounce what was in it, I would buy it for them. Well, you can imagine they would see these long words like that, and they finally got old enough, and I let them go into the trash food out there. But when they were little, it was so funny to watch them in the grocery store looking at the labels, trying to pronounce these words. Oh,
Gil, what are you doing now?
I'm still trying to get the chocolate at the right consistency
Okay.
so it won't just run off. And I also am burning the next batch of pecans.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh,
I burned the next batch of pecans.
Oh,
send those to
dear.
me.
is there a flame?
What's that?
Send-
Sue?
You can send those to me.
You like them burnt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I might just have to do that because I think they're roasted a little too much.
Call them blackened.
Blackened pecans. Yeah.
Then
My
you
mother
can
was
sell
not
them
the
for
best
more
cook
money.
at them. What, Janine?
Then you can sell them for more money.
If they're blackened.
Yeah.
My mother was not the world's best cook, and I learned how to like things well done.
My husband
For stars, right.
had a grandmother that was like that, and they did not enjoy going to her house
Oh, my
because
mother hated
she burned
cooking.
everything.
God, she hated it. With passion, she hated cooking.
Okay, so I'm stirring this, trying to finish melting it so that I don't get it so thin that it won't go on the turtles right.
Mhm.
It's not being very cooperative.
Oh, Frosty wants to say hi.
Hi, Frosty.
Frosty.
Oh, wow. Pretty.
That's cute.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate.
Temperature or
Or
humidity.
humidity. All right, yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna make a stab at it.
Yay.
I don't think it's quite thin enough.
Talk about artistry.
Now this falls into the category of candy making.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I love making Christmas candies. In fact, I already have in mind probably what we'll do either next week or the following week.
It wouldn't happen to be coconut bonbons with it.
No, I've never made those, but it sounds delicious because I love coconut.
So Gail, what do you have in mind, or do you want to keep that a secret?
So I can go ahead and tell you. I make old-fashioned divinity.
Oh, yummy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sold. Sold. We're not doing anything this afternoon if you want to do that.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you could all mail it in the same package.
And that is a very particular process as well.
It is.
It is.
Yep. And you have to watch the weather forecast too.
Yes.
That's right, Janine.
Okay, some of these still have a few little chocolate chunks in them.
Oh, well.
That gives them character.
But you will see.
A unique turtle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those look lovely.
They look lovely, yes.
This
Uh-huh.
one over here, the chocolate was too thin. And it just went off. Okay, so now I'm going to add some of the white chocolate drizzle to a couple of them, just so we can see what that's like.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Look, too big of a drizzle on that one.
Dusty, did you ever see the movie Moonstruck?
Yes.
No,
No.
Didn't.
One of the major characters had a bread store. A bread store. And it looked like really hard, sweaty, physical work.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get up in the middle of the night every day.
Yep,
That's why donut shops close at noon, isn't that right?
yep.
So you can go home, go to bed?
All right.
Except for he didn't close at noon.
Can you see that?
Oh, Gail.
That looks nice.
Hold on just a minute.
Yay.
Say something, Gail, because you're not in the middle of the screen anymore.
What's that?
Say something. Okay, there you go. I can see you now.
Oh, yum, yum. I
Yes.
Beautiful.
Gosh.
I take my hat off to you.
Very
Yes.
pale.
That's
The
this is
bottom
chemistry.
of it stuck to my spatula.
A nerve.
Well, I guess you just have to lick that off then.
Yes.
After we turn off the camera. This is chemistry.
No cooking allowed when I'm baking for someone besides me and my three.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But that's the finished product. So
Okay.
you see, I'll be busy for a little while
Yes.
to finish melting the chocolates to put the rest of them together. And it looks like I may have to make a run to the store because I burned my pecans.
Oh, no.
No.
Let me grab that cookie sheet and I'll show you what I've done.
Okay.
There's a few of them that are still okay, but the ones on the edge, to me, this is burned.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see.
Whatever you say, you're in charge.
It's a little too done.
Okay.
It might make a waste of the chocolate, but the ones in the center, I
Good.
think those are okay.
Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
So I'll be able to use the ones in the center. But I emptied the bag onto this cookie sheet.
That's about $8 worth of pecans. What a chemistry lesson.
Oh, hey, let me remind everybody that in this time of COVID and all that, that when you cough, you have to cough into your elbow, not your hand.
Yes. Yes.
That is correct.
And I
Because
was,
there's 23 million germs from one cough in your hand. And they will live for 24 hours on anything that you touch.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness.
So
It's a good
elbows have
reminder.
no function in life.
Bye, Nancy. See you tomorrow.
Bye, Nancy. Good to
Bye,
see
Nancy.
you.
All right, so we have had an intense lesson in candy making today,
Yay.
and I'll be finishing these off to try to get your boxes in the mail this afternoon or first thing in the morning.
Thank you very much, Gail.
That is
Thank
so
you, Gail.
sweet.
I
Y'all
think
have a wonderful afternoon, and let me share with you what's up for tomorrow.
I gotta run. Somebody's ringing the doorbell. I think my husband might.
I think that was my phone, Paulette.
Bye.
Bye, Paulette.
Bye.
And tomorrow we have Texas Winds, the Harlows on cello and piano.
Oh, great.
A good one.
So
Love cello.
yes,
I do too, Dusty.
me too.
sometimes
Great,
I use cello music to help me go to sleep at night.
Yes.
Look forward to it.
All right,
Excellent.
you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Dusty,
Bye, everybody.
I want to hear more about baking, okay?
All right.
Okay. Have a good day, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.